Hello and grüß Gott. Well, this will be the last part of our garage improvement videos related to this particular house. Just to recap, this is a 40-year-old house, and I wanted to redo the garage within a reasonable amount of budget. So I've completed that task for about $3,000. Right now you're looking at the garage door, which I just finished today. And I got the panels from, I think it was Home Depot, and they were fairly inexpensive. I had to order 2 sets, but one piece of this garage door is like super extra long. So I actually had to take some foam from my Sears Craftsman cabinets and put them into the door to make up the space. And then even then I had to cut some strips, but that's okay. The only other way I could get around that would be to order another 3rd kit and piece in some small pieces, and that would just be a huge waste. So this should work out just great. So I'm going to show you over to the left a little bit on the wall where I have all of my regular stuff hung up that I use around the house or just in the garage in general. Whisk broom, paintbrushes, sprayers, that kind of stuff. My fantastic car starter that I got, and I have all that hanging there. And then what we're going to do is back up and show you a little bit of some of the other things we've done in here, just to recap the whole deal. Okay, over here we'd put in this Craftsman mid-size cabinet, and I built all the supports for it, and it's pretty heavily loaded with a lot of tools. And then we also put in some regular cabinets where I can store parts and things. And so that's all done. I have an area here for my high pressure washer, my gas, all of my stuff up here, rakes and things that I use in the yard. And then down here I have a GoPed on my race deck, which I installed. So I'll show you that here in a second. We'll come back to that. And then let me swing around and show you some more areas, and we'll be right back. So over here we have a Craftsman tall cabinet we put in, a regular smaller Craftsman cabinet that's wall mounted, my Craftsman workbench, 3 Craftsman roll-arounds, heavily laden with tools. I got a Rockler mat from the company that makes woodworking equipment for use in front of there. And you can probably, hopefully see the epoxy we did and all the paint, the light fixtures, everything else. And then we're gonna come swing around over here and show you the other wall, and then we'll come back and show you the race deck and epoxy and how it came out. Okay, so over here on this wall I have my power blower and my sprayers and various things, and I have those racks I'd gotten that I put all my canned items in. So all of my cans of different lubricants and sprays are all on the wall, and my microfiber wipes are down there. And then over here we have all my tire gauges, which we'll swing around to the right and show you that here in a second. So here we have the tire gauge holder I'd built for all of my tire gauges. So that's that. And then I'm going to show you where I have all my motorcycles and stuff parked on my race deck here in just a second. Okay, so over at this house I'm keeping this Suzuki and this Harley, and also my Nissan Xterra, and of course a bicycle as well. And raised deck actually makes a little jack pad that you put in place of one of the tiles, but I didn't want to go with that option, at least for right now. So I have these little plastic pieces that go into the kickstands to keep them from digging into the race deck. And as you can see, I used red striped borders on the race deck with tan interior, and it matches the paint on the wall pretty well as far as the columns go. It's not exactly the right color, but it's in the right range. And then we epoxied with a tan color, and I'll show you that here in a second. The floor, the whole entire garage is done with epoxy coat taupe. If I had have started with epoxy coat taupe, it would have been a beautiful project. But if you refer back to a couple of videos, there was a couple of issues I had. So we weren't really sure that this epoxy coat could stand up to the tires on the cars and motorcycles. So that's why we put the race deck down. But if I was to do it all over again, I'd actually hire somebody to do it because they had the right equipment. But if I was going to do it myself, I would get enough extra epoxy coat of the right color that you could do the whole thing and put 2 coats on it all within 1 day of each other. And I would also pre-mix all of the color in the part A, I guess they call it, all in one batch. And then, like I say, put 2 coats down, and then I think it would have been a fantastic coating. Unfortunately, I put down white, we ran out. We ended up going and getting taupe, but we weren't within the 24-hour window. We were around 48 to 72 hours before we put it down. So we don't know if it had a good chemical bond, but so far I have no peeling, no issues at all, and it seems to be hard as a rock. So I think it's probably all okay, but it's certainly good enough for foot traffic. And the last thing I'll show you is, I'll break away and I'll come back and I'll show you my little GoPed. Okay, so also on the race deck here, I made a little spot for my GoPed to set it on there. I don't ride it very often, but occasionally I do. And so that's really all there is to this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching our series on doing this garage. As I mentioned, it cost about $3,000, including painting the ceilings, walls, epoxy coat, race deck, everything we did, all the cabinets, everything was about $3,000, but it did take a lot of labor. So that's all there is to this video. Thanks for watching. Tschüss.